Good day, everyone. I'm your host, Paul Lawrence Van with Wealth Academy Podcast. We have an exciting session today. This particular episode includes an amazing leadership expert, award-winning author, leadership coach, and much more. We're going to get into that. But before we get started, I'm going to introduce him. Will Lukang, how are you doing today, my friend?
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to have a conversation with you. It's an honor to be on your show.
Yes, it's an honor to have you here. And of course, we know our friends from the Mega Hub, Global Mega Hub, are also watching this. So we thank them as well. So, really quick, before we get started, I want you to learn more about Will. And you, of course, can see this live here on the live stream at LinkedIn. And I provide a link throughout social media and on the LinkedIn account. And also, if you want to call in and ask a question, you can do so here. And I provided that particular link on social media as well. You can come into the virtual studio, ask your question. We'll bring you on and ask your question, and then we'll put you out and Will can answer that question. So feel free to do that. Let's not be shy, people. Let's not be shy. Let's get involved. So Will Lukang is a dynamic leadership development expert and executive coach, and he's on a mission to empower leaders at the most critical moment, right now. With a laser focus on succession planning, cultural transformation, and mindset mastery, Will brings over 2 decades of experience in helping organizations thrive through customized coaching, assessment, strategic retreats, and leadership development programs. And he leads and is co-founder of Kairos Executive Programs. And without further ado, I want to introduce you to him. We're going to cover some really amazing topics, and we're glad you're along for the journey. So, Will, let's get started. And one of the first questions I want to ask you about is where did you grow up? And then how did you get involved in the leadership space itself?
I'll bring you way back.
I love it.
I was born and raised in the Philippines. My parents were from China. My dad
Okay.
migrated to the Philippines when he was very young, 17 years old, I remember. And my mom, my grandparents moved from China to the Philippines. So I was born and raised in the Philippines. Grew up working in our family convenience store. It's a very small store in a marketplace. And I
Yes.
grew up watching my dad. And it's interesting because a lot of what as I became an adult and working in corporation, a lot of what I learned as leadership are the things that I learned from my dad. Yeah,
Oh,
my dad leading by example, treating people with respect, empathy, um, and making sure that he worked alongside his people are the
yes.
things that when I realized those are leadership traits, he never told me those are leadership, but he embodied and he modeled them. And as I remember what he was doing, even when I was growing up, I loved to observe how he conduct himself. And I always said, I want to do that. I want to emulate that because I think that's a good one. That's a good thing to do with your people. And those are the things I took away. And when I had the opportunity to lead a team, which I didn't think about that when I started my career. I had
Mhm.
the opportunity a year and a half into it, almost 2 years, I was asked to be the team lead. I had to draw from my experience from observing my dad
Yeah.
and working with my dad as a way of helping me transition to be a leader.
Yes, that's fantastic. And I tell you, our stories are very similar because I started out in our family's grocery store as well. So we have connection here, Will. But
Uh,
your father led by example, and he modeled that, and you picked that up and ended up in this space, which is one of the best spaces there are, which is leadership. So you said that now is the perfect time to develop leadership capability. Why is timing so critical in today's business landscape, Will?
I think as we live in a global economy and everything is more intertwined and interconnected, therefore it creates a lot of pressure for everyone to actually work in this environment. So we need leader that are ready to actually step in, be an empathetic leader to their team, showing compassion and leading by example. Especially, I think the one trait that I even talk about in my book was character. We need
Yeah.
to lead with character now more than ever. We needed to do that because of the interconnecting society that we work with. We're truly a global economy. So
Absolutely.
in the past, you could do things on your own in your local region, and that might work. But now that we work with people all over the world, we work in different time zone. We need to be mindful about how we could best present ourselves and how do we best serve other people. Therefore, I believe that now is the right time. In fact, 2 years ago was the right time. However, if you didn't do that 2 years ago, as there's a saying about planting a tree, the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. But if you didn't
Absolutely.
do that 10 years ago, today is the best way to start. Best time to start.
Absolutely. And you're absolutely right, because now is definitely that time, because we've went through the financial setback in
Yeah.
08, '09 in that time frame, then COVID in 20 to 22, and now we're going through changes here in the US and globally around the world. So in order for people to really do a great job, productivity, increase that revenue, and retain top talent, it has to take place now. Absolutely. So, how do you tailor leadership development and coaching to meet the unique culture and needs of an organization? Because organizations are very dynamic. And I'll repeat it: how do you tailor leadership development and coaching to meet the unique culture and needs of an organization?
I think that's a very good question. And from our perspective, it starts with a conversation. We don't just come to you and say, we have the following, tier of programs that we offer, and here's what you should use. What we do is we come and sit with you and have a conversation around the opportunity that you're currently working on and
Mhm.
the challenges that are preventing you from moving the needle in the right direction. And based on those conversation, we would then tailored and adjust our program accordingly to then offer those as a suggestion to our client. We
Okay.
don't come with, hey, here's five level, here's how many coaching we need to do. We want to make sure we're empathetic to our clients' need, and therefore listening and understanding what they're going through and what are the things that they needed in order to help them move the needle in the right direction is our approach.
Yes, that's outstanding, and definitely one to take. I know today's leaders, they have their plates full as a result of the dynamics that are taking place in the economy, in the work processes and procedures, and being able to provide that those particular programs and systems to them is very critical, because employees, I believe that 67% are considering going to a new organization,
Yep.
and being able to retain them is one of the key aspects that they have to take. So let's accelerate just a bit and talk about something that a lot of companies really don't do, especially small companies. But succession planning is one of your specialties, Will. What are the most common blind spot companies have in this particular area?
I think the first one that we talk about is, waiting until it's urgent,
Exactly.
assuming that all my employee are happy and they're staying with me forever.
Yes.
That's not the reality. In fact, if you have people are high performer,
Mhm.
chances are a lot of people are reaching out to them,
Yes.
having a conversation, giving them an offer, giving them suggestion. A lot of people are reaching out to them. So waiting till it's urgent and it's too late, by the time the person make a decision to leave, that's too late. The
Yes.
number two mistakes people do is, if someone leaves, I hire someone, that means I'm good. Well,
Mhm.
it's one thing you're able to hire a replacement. It's another thing that the person had the knowledge to be productive. I think that's
Exactly.
another key. And the third one that I love to use a lot is, you know, having person on the ground working and not focusing on knowledge transfer.
Mhm.
It's a big risk. Even though things are going well, one of the things we always implement is a knowledge transfer plan. It's not a plan because you want to push someone out. It's actually a plan where we position and tell the subject matter expert that, and this one approach we've used is the 70-30 rule. If
Yeah.
you're the expert, I would cover you for 70% of the knowledge, and Mary would cover 30% of your knowledge. And the reason why that's important is because if we know what you're doing and we're familiar, when you go on vacation, I'm not going to give you a call.
Mhm.
There's no like, hey, Paul, we have a problem. Can you log in and take a look at it? No, we don't want that. We want people to take their vacation and enjoy their vacation. So therefore, the 7:30 rule meant I know 70% of what you know, the best I could. Mary knows 30% of what you know. So when you go on vacation for a week, you shouldn't be hearing from us unless Will and Mary didn't know what to do,
Exactly.
right? And
Yes.
to me, it's very important concept of knowledge transfer. So don't wait till something happened and scramble because the person's leaving. And
Mhm.
that's very common where people wait knowledge transfer when people are leaving.
Yes. And plus, it provides that continuity.
Yes.
Yes, continuity. And then when it looks at influence, a really great leader, influential leader, would train and develop other employees within the organization, whether it's a manager and or the employees as well. And that really helps give them a competitive advantage amongst their competition in their industry, which also helps. So the succession planning is not an option, it's really an imperative.
Yes, it is an imperative, and I hope anyone listening out there, if you have not, created a plan,
Yes,
start creating a plan. Work with whomever you believe can help you. If you need help, we could come and help you too. But start today. Think about it today. Make decision today because you'll be more prepared in the future when something happens.
definitely, definitely. And I can remember putting together my business plan, and that was actually one of the questions. Succession planning. Who would, if something happened to you or you decide to step down, who would replace you? And that's a very important question for many organizations to answer. So, Will, thank you so much for that. Now, Will, can you explain how micro habits make a big difference in long-term leadership effectiveness? I'm really, really looking forward to how you explain this, and I'll repeat it. Can you explain how micro habits make a big difference in long-term leadership effectiveness?
I would first explain what a micro habit is. A
Yes.
micro habit is something that you do that takes a shorter time to get done. It could be I have four micro habits when I wake up. The first thing I do is I make my bed
Mhm.
because when you make your bed and you come home, even if you have a bad day, you came home to a made bed. And
Yes,
that's the best feeling sleeping at night on a made bed. So that's
absolutely.
micro habit. I think it's something that you do. It should take a short time, right? And it it
That's right.
it helps create that discipline. If you do it over a course of 6 to 10 weeks, it becomes part of you, right? The second micro habit I do is I do a gratitude prayer.
Mhm.
It's important to your brain could only hold the positive thought or the negative thought.
That's
I
right.
don't want to give it a chance to have a negative thought. So when I
Mhm.
wake up in the morning, make my bed, my second micro habit is gratitude prayer, thanking God for
Yes.
the gift of new day that I don't deserve. And therefore, I put positive thought in my brain, and I start with almost 100% in my
Yeah.
gas tank. And then the third one is I drink a glass of water,
Yes.
right?
That's good
And
for
so
the
the,
system.
and the fourth micro habit I did is I exercise 25 to 30 minutes every morning.
Oh,
I have a
wonderful.
kettlebell in my my bathroom, and I do all my exercise there. I don't need to go to a gym, no fancy equipment, just a
Uh-huh.
kettlebell and a couple of dumbbells, and I do all the exercise. And
Yeah.
micro habit is important in leadership because if you develop a habit like
Mhm.
learning, I developed my micro habit in learning for probably about 15 years now. Every night, a couple of nights a week, I would spend about an hour by
Mhm.
myself around 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, away from the family. They're doing their own thing. I'm studying. I'm learning something. I'm learning
Absolutely.
something new. And I developed that. And over time, it stick with me. It becomes something like that I look forward to. And if I'm on vacation, I couldn't really go spend time by myself and read something. I'll bring a book and I'll read a book before I go to bed. I
So
think
important.
those micro habits are things that you could develop that build muscle memory for you,
Yes.
and they become part of you.
Mhm.
And why that's important for leadership? For leadership, you cannot pour from an empty cup.
Oh, that's
You
correct.
cannot lead people when you are not so much knowledgeable but competent than them, right?
Yes.
Therefore, you
To be
need
a
to build.
level above.
Yes, you need
Mhm.
to build this competency where you're able to serve them. And really, leadership is service, right? Leadership is impact. And
Yeah.
therefore, developing this micro habit, small thing that you do throughout your day or your time,
Uh-huh.
that develop that muscle memory that enable to be second nature for you, and develop your competency to help other people and serve your people.
Yes. And we have a comment here by Jenny, and she states, I love micro habit concept. Thank you so much for that, Jenny. And I'm able to see that coming in from LinkedIn. So we're glad to have you here. But you're absolutely right, Will, because what I see is mind, body, spirit, and soul. Because
Exactly.
if you get up in the morning and say that prayer, we don't want to take anything for granted.
Exactly.
Take for granted. And then you get that physical exercise we all need, that we were created to do that. And so all of these four micro habits that you shared is very important, especially for a leader. And I'm going to support Jenny and say, I love micro habit concept. Thank you so much for that, Jenny. So let's
Thank
move
you,
on.
Jenny.
Yes, thank you very much. And I think that that's just one of the most important things you're saying right here, Will, because you're looking at a 360-degree perspective of an individual that happens to be a leader who wants to be a very effective leader with high impact. So it's very important. Now, you work with both individuals as well as groups. How does the coaching dynamic shift between these particular formats? If you can share just a bit. We know you work with some organizations, corporations, small businesses, but you also can work with individuals. If you can share the difference between the two different formats, if you will,
I,
and audiences.
for me, coaching an individual is ensuring that I hold the space for that individual.
Mhm.
And everything we talk about is related to that one person, what
Yeah.
that person wants, and helping that person come up with the answer that they needed to in order to solve the problem. But coaching a group is a bit different. Coaching a group, it's more on focusing. It's in many ways I look at as organizational,
Mhm.
organizational coaching, right?
Yes.
Dynamics
Mhm.
coaching. You're coaching a team for a particular thought, particular challenge, particular opportunity that they're
Mhm.
working with. Therefore, it's not more on that personal dynamics anymore. It's more on holistic, what this team is facing and how this team might be able to move the needle in the right direction. But
Mhm.
the practice is the same. Don't give them answer. You try not to give them suggestion. You try to ask your powerful question to help them reflect on
And
the
guide them.
challenges, to
Yes.
guide them on the challenges and the opportunity, and you try to hold that space to allow them to reflect on it.
Yes, fantastic. And I think you're absolutely right because when we look at corporations, we're going there to solve a problem. So Kairos executive programs go in, they have identified a problem and they find you as a solution to their problem, which is a difference. And then when you handle the individuals, it's more so how to make them a better leader.
Or help them grow
Grow,
in
right?
the space
Professional development.
that they're working on.
Hmm.
Because not everyone wants to be a leader. That's one of the
That's,
questions I asked in my book. Do you
that's
want to be
very
a leader?
Yes, yes, I totally agree. I totally agree. So one of the things, Will, that I look at is, and I'll ask this question: what are some of the early indicators that an organization is ready or not ready for cultural alignment work? Because that in and of itself is work, and you find ways to make a workplace that is safe, one where people feel honored, one where people feel as if they are part of the organization as a whole. But when we look at early indicators that an organization is ready or not, what is your particular philosophy and processes for this?
I think the number one thing that I try to observe when I interact with them is
Yes,
getting cued that they have a growth mindset, right?
yes,
Organization that are ready to embrace the cultural shift. They have a growth mindset. They really want to learn. They're not there to just tell people what to do and how to do it. They
sure,
really want to figure out how to get it done. So growth mindset is one. Number two is organization with people who have empathy,
yes,
empathy for the change that's about to happen, and investing the time to actually be able to articulate what that change is all about and why it mattered to all of us,
Mhm.
right? Because if you have those key elements in an organization, they could embrace the change and they could facilitate the change from happening in a uh, more, I would say, smooth fashion. Because
Exactly.
if you don't have growth mindset and you don't embrace, you don't have empathy in your people, you're gonna try to push everything down, right? Thinking that it's a mandate. And I think those are the telltale sign of organization that's ready versus one that's not ready.
Yeah. And they have to embrace that change that's coming because it is in fact change. And I was just reading recently that there are more cuts that are going to come not only in federal government but
Yeah.
private industry as well. And that would definitely be one of the aspects that you can capitalize on in helping people to make that transition. Because in essence, it's sort of a succession issue too,
Yep.
transition type succession. So that's definitely something that you can do.
That's spot on. That's spot on.
Yes. And one of the things I want to share with people before we get out of here, we have more questions, but I just want you all to know that when we had the recent Master X Leadership Summit, it was a global summit, and Will Lukang came on, and he was on fire. And what I mean by being on fire is that he had a presentation and that people just resonated with me. And I was fortunate that I introduced him in that leadership summit. And he did not disappoint. In fact, he just added so many other layers through that process. So I want to share that with you all right now. So if you're looking for a dynamic speaker, leadership trainer, for leadership core competencies and individual coaches, Will Lukane is who you want. That's who you want. Okay, that felt better.
Well, thank you for your kind words. In that particular event, I have to tell people that I followed a very good speaker, Paul. Paul was the first speaker for the day, and he tee us off really well. And I have to keep up with that, energy that the audience had. So thank you, Paul, for leading the way that day. I just was a follower and making sure that I keep up with the energy. But
All
thank you for the
right.
kind words. I really appreciate it.
You're
You're a
quite
humble
welcome.
man.
And well deserved, by the way, Will. Well deserved. So let's talk a little bit about that amazing book that you have. I want you to share this with them because this book has won so many awards that I can't explain it. I'm going to let Will explain it to you. And how many, first of all, tell them how many awards your book, Seeds of Leadership, has received.
I would first say it's glory to God. It's a blessing.
Oh,
Never really expected it to even earn one award. More so now at 14. At 14, and
14.
I'm really humbled by that experience. And yeah, it's I wrote the book because I believe that it would help people who are either starting in their career, now in middle in their journey, trying to be better in serving their people. Because the focus around developing yourself. And in this book, I have three pillars. I have three core pillars. The first
Yeah.
pillar is developing yourself. And the question starts with, do you want to be a leader? Because if you don't want to be a leader, it's okay. You
Mhm.
could be an individual contributor and have influence on others, but if you want to be a leader, you need to develop yourself. You need to grow yourself. You need to train yourself. You need to develop and focus on your character, because your character is the one that leads the way. So once you develop yourself and you grow and you know how to sacrifice the work that you need to do, put in the effort for other people, put other people ahead of you. And now that if you learn that, not mastered, it takes no. I think everything is evolving. You're growing all the time. Then you could focus on growing others. That's a second pillar. Growing others, focusing on growing people. How do you challenge your team to take on more responsibility by supporting them, by guiding them, by nurturing them, by using coaching and mentoring as a tool to actually help them grow. More importantly, how do you help them learn about the business? This way, they not only grow technically, but they grow also on the business side. And
Yes.
then once they really experience how to be a leader, you then, as a leader for the team, you have to know that and understand that leadership is temporary. we're on a position right now, but you don't hold that position forever. You need to look into the future. That's the third pillar. Look into the future and see who could actually take over the role and elevate that person to that position so they could actually be recognized. People would know who they are. People could even applaud their capability, because many times in my experience, in my career, the person that I tap to be the person that take on the role, everyone's saying like, why is that person not promoted, a long time ago, right? Because the
Exactly.
person really had everything that they need to learn, and by the time they went up to the next level, they're not just working to stay in that level, they're excelling in that level.
Mhm.
And to me, that third pillar is very important. And therefore, I think I thought that it'll be good to share my experience and really share all the stories that form part of who I am as I try to be a servant leader over my career
Mhm.
and focus on growing others. I think it's in a way it's also giving back,
Oh,
because I
that's fantastic. And congratulations, 14 awards. I can't even count that high, Will.
I didn't expect, right, when I was submitting this book for the book awards. I was like, yeah, if I get one, I'd be very happy. I'll be jumping for joy, which I did when I got the first one.
So,
And but
Will,
I didn't expect it at all.
tell me this. I know being an author, on the first day that you had that print copy in your hand, what did that feel like for you?
It was the best experience. In fact, I still have the original
Yeah,
manuscript before the final copy, my
fantastic.
publisher's cover before
Yes.
the final copy. And when I was able to hold this
Uh-huh.
and read it for the first time, it became real.
Yes.
It became real, and I was a bit emotional about it, because
Hmm.
it's your thought to
Right.
physical form, to fruition,
Yes. The
right? So
power of words.
yes, and I said to myself, oh my God, like I was just thinking about publishing this book, and now I'm very close to getting it out. And a month and a half later, we have the actual book. That
Book. It's
and
quite,
it's really one of the experience that I'll probably never forget. The feeling of fulfillment,
yeah,
um, and being able to say, I did it, I want to do it, and I did it. Right?
definitely. And I have a feeling, Will, I don't know why, but 14 awards is not going to be the end of it for this book.
I
I
don't know.
believe it's going to keep going.
I don't know. I think that's about it. I'm
Yeah.
I'm pretty happy with it.
Oh, definitely, for sure. So let's transition a bit into your podcast, and please provide the name of it, and then how people can learn more about it.
My podcast title is I Will Aim. Happen to have the same shirt. I use this for my
Uh-huh.
recording.
Uh-huh.
It's I Will Aim. It's an intentional living. And the
Yes.
tagline is discover a better version of yourself. I believe that change are not like magical. There's
Hmm.
not there's life development is not it's
That's a
not a
great line.
shortcut. It's not a
Yeah.
shortcut. Everything takes time. Therefore, I believe in sharing nuggets of information where people could listen to an episode, listen to the three takeaway, and try to apply the three takeaway. Right?
Yeah.
And you could find it on you could find it on YouTube. I have my channel on YouTube and Spotify. I
Uh-huh.
have 87 episodes so far loaded.
Uh-huh.
87 episode 87 is going to be released tomorrow, Thursday. I
Fantastic.
release a new episode every Thursday, and the genesis of actually creating the podcast was around sharing some of my experience as a leader, growing in my role and continue through my journey. And it was a bit of a monologue for 19 episodes. By episode 17, I was getting tired of myself. I said to myself, I can't be recording myself on video and watching myself. So I think I
It's
want
hard to live. Will, it's hard to live with excellence. I understand.
no, I don't think I would even go that far. I just said to myself, I want to grow and I want to show people I
Sure.
can grow. So I said, I want to start interviewing, you know, expert all over the world.
Uh-huh.
So the first few episodes of those, it was a bit, odd. I felt odd doing the recording, but over time became comfortable with it. And what I really love about trying to expand my horizon was I've met so many great people,
Hmm.
So many great people all over the world. I must have interviewed people from 20 countries already at this point,
Uh-huh.
and met so many great people that I still collaborate with, right?
Oh,
I still
wonderful.
collaborate with and I'm really thankful for that opportunity. So if you want, go to YouTube, look
Mhm.
for I Will Aim, one word, I Will Aim, just like my shirt says, discover a better version of yourself, listen to it, let me know what you thought of the episode, subscribe, and share it with your friends.
Yes, that's fantastic. And it gives people another perspective, especially right now. A lot of people have the quicksands of life, and people are really trying to navigate life. And so having that will help them to think about and look inside, because that's really where the gifts, the blessings all exist, on the inside. And everything from the external perspective is really what we call noise.
Yes.
So we want that peace and that quiet, like when you want to read your books and everything. So fantastic. So let's talk a bit about you as a movie producer, as a producer.
Oh my goodness.
Now this one, that's why I keep telling people on social. I said he's multi-talented, and there's more.
About the movie, the title is Consequences of Tomorrow.
Uh-huh.
And the backdrop of that movie is my desire to help people learn and embrace artificial intelligence. We call it AI.
Yes.
Everyone talk about it,
Mhm.
everyone define it differently, but I
Mhm.
think it's important to talk about AI because I draw a parallel between AI and when computer first started back in the 80s.
Oh
I
yeah, I
was young
remember.
in high school when I first learned how to do programming. For some reason, I was able to see the future.
Uh-huh.
People are going to be using computer, and I would tell people like, you need to learn this. They're like, no one's going to learn it, it's too expensive, like $2,000
Oh,
a
that was a
desktop,
lot of money.
like who's going to pay for it, like and my dad happened to buy one for my older brother who
Uh-huh.
loves programming, and I learned it. But I saw what it's capable of, and look at that, I spent over 3 decades doing technology work.
Uh-huh.
And I want to share that same story with people about AI.
Mhm.
Don't be afraid of AI. AI might take your job. Yeah, it might, because you didn't jump on the bandwagon and learn
Bandwagon.
about it. So my
Exactly.
message, and in fact, I'm part of the AI 2030 advisory board.
Oh,
And one of
wonderful.
the two pillars that I'm really focused, it's AI for good, and
Uh-huh.
AI for good and AI for human. Those are really what we focus on. But
Sure.
for me, there's two pillars that's really important to me:
Mhm.
inclusiveness and
Yeah.
accessibility.
Yes.
Because if we don't do anything with this, people who have no access to AI and
Uh,
learn about AI, it'll create a socio-economic problem,
it
because
will.
in the future they won't have access. So it's important for us leader to engage in conversation right now about it. So I created that movie. Of course, I wasn't really I don't have an experience to create a movie, but I decided to write a high level plot. I developed the scene, and I actually reached out to one of my daughter's teammate in golf back in junior golf. And
Right.
then I reached out to her. She loves to do movies. She loves to do recording. So I reached out to her and said, "Here's my high level script. Can we create a movie about helping people understand AI and what it could do
Mhm.
for them?" And thankfully she said yes, and we collaborated. So we did our a walkthrough of the script in August last year. We did our recording entire summer, and then we released it October 1st. We released it.
Oh, wonderful.
Actually
Of
released
last
it.
year?
Yeah, last year,
Oh,
October 1st,
fantastic.
we did our own premiere,
Uh,
and it has over 9,800 views. And I'm really thankful for the people who actually watch it. I do
sure.
encourage you to watch it on my YouTube channel. The
Okay.
title is Consequences of Tomorrow, and the consequence of tomorrow also has other consequences.
Sure.
We signed up for a telly,
Ah,
and we
fantastic.
won a bronze telly,
Congratulations.
right? And to me, this goes to show that if you have something on your mind that you want to create, don't listen to people telling you you have no experience, you were never a producer, you don't know how to do this. Look
Exactly.
for people to partner with, and that's a perfect example. I never really expected that we could win a telly, and we won a bronze telly. I gave my director and writer a
Uh-huh.
telly because she deserves it. And
Sure.
these are the type of things that really show people that if you have something in mind that you want to work on, put your mind and
Sure,
heart
sure,
to it, and it
sure,
will yield the result. Not the result that I expected,
sure.
but it yields result, and I count my blessing.
Absolutely. And I tell you, that's a very good point, is that you don't have to, everything, the stars don't always have to be aligned. But if you take action, the universe will honor it and carry you across the line.
And I love that particular point that you just mentioned, because I always believe in you doing the work
Yes,
before it's needed.
absolutely.
Over the course of my career, I always tell people
Mhm.
who work with me, my mentee, that do the work. When
Yes,
the opportunity knock on your door, you don't want them to say you don't have the skill.
right.
You would want them to say they don't like you, and that's okay. You
Uh-huh.
don't need to like me,
Right.
but don't miss an opportunity because you don't have the skills.
Mhm.
So do the work before you need it. So when time comes, you're ready for every opportunity when it knocks.
Definitely. That's well stated. And I'm hoping people are taking those notes I request they take, uh, because of all the gold nuggets that you would be providing, and you just provided some. So congratulations on you and the production team. And I have a feeling this is not the end.
No,
There's
we're
more to come.
sequel going for 2026. We're
Yes,
working on the sequel already. So
yes,
yep, be on the lookout. Watch it on my YouTube channel, and let me know what you think.
yeah. That's fantastic. Get on out to YouTube and follow up with Will, and provide some comments while you're out there, and rate and review his podcast as well as his YouTube channel. Subscribe. So, Will, one of the things that I always find intriguing is to find out in terms of uh, leadership myths. So, from your experience, what's one leadership development myth that needs to be debunked immediately, if there's one?
I think one that a lot of us mega global master X leaders know is leaders not born.
Right,
Right? Leaders are not born. We were all born, don't know how to speak, don't know anything.
right,
Right? When you were born, you didn't know how to speak, you didn't know how to crawl, you didn't know how to walk. But leaders about thinking about other people. It's about serving people. So if
yes.
you have the desire to serve people and you have the desire to grow yourself,
Mhm.
you could be a leader. Even early in my career, I had no one reported to me. I had influence. Like
Uh-huh.
when I talk to people, people listen to me, not because Will knows this and that and he's this and that. No, because you have influence. And if you have to pick between a physical leadership role and an influence, pick influence any day,
Absolutely.
because influence goes a long, long way. And that's what my master Paul is preaching. Leadership is influence. I want to put it back
Absolutely.
on Paul, who actually is the leader who wrote the book about leadership is influence, right?
Thank you, Will.
Right.
Absolutely.
I want to
And
highlight you too.
I appreciate that. And one of the things, we're coming down to our last question. What's the one takeaway you want every leader to remember after working with you or hearing you speak?
And I think this just and I had another one, but I'm going to use this
Okay.
one that I learned from another podcast guest of us.
Okay.
Anyone that works with you, it's someone that's important and loved by someone else.
Yes.
So if you're doing work with people,
Mhm.
be kind, be empathetic, because that person you're working with, someone is someone's loved one. Someone loves that person, and you need to ensure that you're taking good care of them.
Right. Build them up and not tear
Build
them
them
down.
up. Build
Yeah.
them up.
Mhm. Absolutely. So we're about to come to a close. Will, if you could provide just a few of your social media accounts, LinkedIn, of course, and where people can get in touch with you.
LinkedIn is definitely the number one place to go to. I'm the only Will Lukang on LinkedIn,
Okay.
WILL. And my YouTube channel, I'll send the link to you, Paul, so you could
Okay.
add the
I'll add it to the
episode
show
itself.
notes.
And
Mhm.
if you're on Instagram, I will aim. I will aim is on Instagram.
Uh-huh.
I have my own personal account on Instagram too, Will Lukang, but I follow I will aim, and reach out to me. I'll be more than happy to hear from you and watch the short film Consequences Tomorrow. And I want to thank you, Paul, for the opportunity to be your guest today. It's really been an honor for me, and I'm humbled and so thankful that you actually selected me as one of your guests.
I always select the best, Will.
I don't know. I don't know about that, but thank you very much.
All right. And before we leave, again, Seeds of Leadership by Will Lukang, and they can get it on Amazon as well.
Yep, Amazon. You can get it on Amazon, and we want to thank you for your support. Share it with your friends, share it with loved ones, share it with your direct report, and have a discussion about the book.
Yes, absolutely. So we have had a very engaging uh, uh, podcast episode here in this particular session with our amazing guest, Will Lukang, award-winning author, a winner of the Telly as a movie producer, podcast host, and a podcast guest. And it's just been an honor, and I look forward to following even more about Will, and I want you to as well. So this episode is episode 294. Wherever you get your podcast, go there, rate and review it. And we really appreciate it. But I want to thank Will Lukang once more for what he does, co-founder of Kairos Executive Programs. And my time is up, and I thank you for yours. And for all of you who are listening live, we want to thank Jenny and others and those who are listening on the archive. Will Lukang, thank you very much. And I really enjoyed this, my friend.
Thank you.
Continue
Thank you
excellence
very
in
much.
all that
Thank
you
you.
do.
Appreciate you.
Okay. So have a great day, everyone. Go out and rate and review episode 294. Go to Apple Podcasts, go to Spotify, go to iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and to the website, www.wealthacademypodcast.com. Thank you all so much and have a wonderful day.